And breaking news coming in now, exposed on Times Now, a 7-member team of pro-Pakistani Indian separatists who had visited Pakistan last month met no less than 2611 mastermind Hafiz Saeed himself, as well as the Hizbul chief Saeed Salahuddin. How did India allow this to happen? And should these separatists who met these terrorists on an Indian passport disclose the content of their discussions? That's the big news that is coming in. We did know that an entire team of separatists had in fact gone to Kashmir, had gone to Pakistan last month and met with the Pakistani army chief. But the fact that they had also met the Hizbul chief as well as Hafiz Saeed himself has only now come to light. And the question is that how did the Indian government allow this to happen? We have Mir Farid and Pradeep Datta with us on this big story. Farid, the big question, of course, is how did the Indian government, the Kashmiri government, allow this to happen? These separatists were allowed to go across to Pakistan. They did meet the Pakistan army chief. But the fact that they also met these most wanted terror masterminds is something that the Indian government is going to have to answer.
Well, absolutely. Times Now had showed as to how the government had gone overboard in order to ensure that the separatists get their travel documents in time before their trip to Pakistan. And it seems that it is a kind of a payback to that by the separatists. And they have met, during their visit, they have met two top fugitives, people who are India's most wanted. His chief, Saeed Salahuddin, the separatists met him in Islamabad, and they also met Hafiz Saeed in Lahore. And it is quite clear that these two militants have been given their strategy, explained to these separatists as to what their planning for the future is, making it clear that the year of 2013 would be a year of consolidation for the militants. And once America is out of Afghanistan in 2014, the jihadis or the Talibanis will be, diverted towards this part and then to Kashmir in order to ensure that they enter Kashmir, enter the hinterland and take part in subversive activities and keep the pot of militancy boiling. Clearly now questions for the Indian government as to why it really went overboard and provided passports and travel documents to the separatists in the very first place, and that too at a rate of knots, when they should have really asked the separatists to really explain as to where they are going to Pakistan and what their motive is, because now it is quite clear that they have met two people who are on the India's most wanted lists, Hafiz Saeed and also Saeed Salahuddin. Back to you.
Absolutely. Let's get Pradeep in on this. Now, Pradeep, as Farid clearly outlined for us, the Indian government sped up the passport process, ensured that these separatists went across the border to meet the Pakistani army chief. And now it has come to light that they also met the Hizbul chief as well as Hafiz Saeed himself. The alarming thing, of course, being that the message given to these separatists by these terror masterminds is that armed militancy is only going to increase in the Kashmir Valley over the next 1 year.
See, because of this incident, there is a lot of resentment among the people, especially today. There had been one incident in Sopar where a 70-year-old sarpanch was killed. I was talking to many of the sarpanches. They said, what kind of a government we are having? On one hand, the people who are holding the flag of democracy, they are not provided the security and they are made to get killed by the terrorist bullets. On the other hand, they fast-tracked the visa, as Farid also said. They fast-tracked the visa, allowed these separatists to go across the border, meet Hafiz Saeed, who has been terrorist mastermind. For the last 20 years, he is making India bleed 1,000 cuts. There had been several actions taken against the country. He has launched a war against the country during 2611 attack. And after coming with a meeting, these people are coming with a message that 2014 is going to be the year when the terrorism is going to escalate in this part of Kashmir. So Indian government will have to rethink what kind of a decision they are taking, because by encouraging such element, they are discouraging other thousands and thousands of Kashmiris who really stand for the democracy. It is the people of Kashmir who have always kept the tryst with the democracy. It's the people of Kashmir who had always with India. But it is only this vocal minority that this Indian government as well as the Jammu and Kashmir government is trying to encourage. By encouraging this vocal minority, they are discouraging the other elements who have stood for India, who have stood for democracy, who have laid down their life. And one more crucial life has been lost to the Lashkar-e-Taiba bullets. So this needs to be understood by the government of India as well as government of Jammu and Kashmir, that what kind of leniency they are showing
Absolutely.
towards these separatist elements. They are allowing them to cross over the border. They are arranging their meeting. This was not only the meeting with the Hafiz Saeed, they also had a meeting with the ISI chief. So one need to understand, because Hafiz Saeed is not going to talk about the good relationship between India and Pakistan. Definitely he is going to give them a mantra and a prescription of how to further escalate violence and terror in this part of Kashmir. We have seen this thing happening in 2010. It was the terrorist outfit like Lashkar-e-Toiba along with some separatist element. They fomented trouble and there had been stone pelting. So this kind of just a junket should not be allowed. It is simply a terror conclave which the Indian government has allowed, and government of India need to rethink about this thing, because this is going to discourage the people.